In this video, we're going to learn how to integrate Auth0 API authentication into your Node.js Express project, allowing effortlessly authorized users to access their data. Hi, my name is Alex. I am a senior software engineer with years of experience in API development. My goal is to help you become a more skilled and proficient developer. Let's get started. I am in a Node.js Express app. We secured the routes with a JSON web token that we manually generated. However, in real life, this token needs to be generated by a secure authentication server. One of the better solutions out there is Auth0. Let's learn how to authenticate users in our API using Auth0 access token. As usual, the link to the GitHub repo with the code is in the description. I am in Auth0 dashboard. Let's go to Applications and create a new application. We're going to call it Task Manager App. We will select a regular web app. This type of application will be using code authorization auth flow. We're not going to select any apps. We will just go to the settings. In the settings, we'll leave everything as is. Later on, we will update callback URLs section. A more in-depth Auth0 tutorial is out of scope of this video. If you'd like to learn more about Auth0, please check out the link in the description. Next, we're going to create an API. So let's go to APIs and click on Create API. We will name our API Task Manager API. API identifier is the audience of a token, its intended recipient. In our case, the recipient is a Task Manager API, so we can put Task Manager API. We will keep JSON Web Token profile as Auth0. We will also stick with RS-256 signing algorithm because it is the most secure. Let's click Create. We are presented with a quick start guide. This guide has a code example for Node.js. This code suggests to use Express Auth0 JWT bear library. We're going to be using this library in our code. Let's select Settings. General settings include ID, name, identifier. Access token settings contain settings you can tweak depending on the use case. We're going to leave everything as is. Now we need to get an access token so we can include it in the authorization header of the request of our API. Usually you will initiate authorization flow in your client application. It can be a React single-page application where a user can see and manage their tasks. However, we don't have this client app. What we can do is to use an extension called Auth0 Authentication API Debugger. I have it already installed, but if you don't, you can just search for it in all extensions and install it. So let me go into this extension. As you can see, it already pulled the domain that Auth0 provided to us. We can choose the application. Let's select the application that we just created called Task Manager App. The Authentication API Debugger has given us a callback URL that we actually need to provide to the Task Manager app. So let's go ahead and copy it, go back to Auth0 dashboard, click on the Task Manager app. Scroll down and in the allowed callback URL, we'll paste the callback URL we just copied and save the changes. Now we can go back to the Authentication API Debugger. We will select Auth0 OIDC tab. We are going to scroll down. There are different settings here, but we are interested in the audience. Audience is how the app knows which API to use. We're going to put the audience for the Task Manager API we just created. So let's go to Auth0 dashboard again. Select APIs. We're going to copy API audience and put it in the audience input field of the Authentication API Debugger. We will also toggle Use Audience switch. Now let's click Auth0 OIDC login button. It may take a while, so be patient. It redirected us to the login screen. Now we can just either use login and password if there is a user created in Auth0 or login with Google. Let's click Continue with Google. I'm already authenticated with Google, so it redirects us back to the debugger with a token. Hash fragment is the response you normally would be getting when authenticating your client application. The response has access token property with the actual token. It also has expires in, scope, state, and token type properties. The debugger provides us with already decoded token in access token section. So let's go ahead and use this token to authenticate a user with our API. When you are validating the token, you want to use the specific library that is suggested by the authentication server. In our case, Auth0 suggests we use Express Auth0 JWT library. Let's go ahead and install it with npm install. We can also check out the documentation for this library. It lists the supported Node versions. Library initialization basically creates the middleware. It also suggests environment variables we should use. Let's go ahead and create those environment variables in our .env file. We're going to create issuer base URL and the audience environment variables. The issuer base URL will be the domain URL of the task manager app that we just created. The value for the audience will be the audience of the API. In our case, it is task manager API that we created in Auth0. Now let's go ahead and add these environment variables to our configuration file. Next, we need to update authenticate user.ts middleware. We can remove all the code we have there and put the following. We're going to import auth from Express Auth0 JWT library, config from config. We create authenticate user variable and assign to it the output of the auth function that is passed audience and issuer base URL configuration options. After that, we export default authenticate user middleware. Next, we'll need to update the error handler middleware to handle errors thrown by Express Auth0 JWT library. But before we do that, if you are learning something new from this video, please like and subscribe to our channel to help YouTube recommend it to more viewers. Let's import unauthorized error from Express Auth0 JWT. In the error handler middleware, we will add another if statement that checks if an error is an instance of this unauthorized error. If it is, we respond with a status code of error.statuscode and send back an error object with error message property and the code if it exists on the error. If not, we will send our own auth code. You can check out Express Auth0 JWT library source code to see what types of error it throws. This library also defines auth property type on Express request. So we don't need to do it ourselves anymore and can delete express.d.ts type definition file. Now let's start the dev server. Let's go to the Auth0 Authentication API debugger and copy the access token. We can now use this access token to test the API. Let's add it to the getTasks request and make a call. Now you can see that we are authenticated. However, no tasks are returned because Auth0 user doesn't have any tasks in the database. Let's go ahead and create tasks for that user. We will copy the value of sub-property from the Auth0 Authentication API debugger and use it to seed the database. We open seed.ts file in Prisma folder and paste the user ID and save the changes. Open another terminal window and run npm run dbseed. The seed command ran successfully. Now we have tasks and projects for this user. Let's go back to the API test.http file and send the request. Now we do have 2 tasks for this user. We can also use the same token in authorization header to make a call to get projects. The API returns 1 project. If we make the token invalid by changing letter G to F at the end, we get a 401 unauthorized error response with a message signature verification failed and invalid token code. This proves that the authenticate user and error handler middlewares work properly. That's it for API authentication with Auth0 access token. Now you are set up to secure your Node.js APIs and manage user access effectively with Auth0. Also, don't forget to check out the next video in this Node.js Express series to level up your Node and Express.js skills.